Okay, so uh, in this session, what we are going to do is basically we are going to talk about a few things. I will start sharing my screen. Let me just finish admitting people so that like they are able to hear. Okay. Yeah. So I will start sharing my screen and then okay, teachers, one humble request. If you are not speaking, can you kindly please mute your phone, microphone, so that like others are not disturbed from the noises that are coming. Okay, so basically, what we will be doing is we'll be first talking about the Google Calendar and how basically it helps us in kind of like managing our daily schedules. What are different kind of things that you can do with Google Calendar, and then basically how you can integrate it with like other tools like Zoom, for instance, and basically other meeting software, wherein like your integration from your Google Calendar is like seamless with other tools that you use. Like Google Calendar is kind of a free tool. It's available to everybody. uh, I will not basically demonstrate how to sign up for a Gmail account. I think like that's too basic and everybody is able to do that. What I will do, however, is basically I will show you how to like what are the different kind of events that can be created on Google Calendar, and basically how you can like use Google Calendar not just for managing your meetings or like your classes, but also other kind of things. For example, your appointments, your recurring tasks, your reminders, and those kind of things, so that like you get a very good experience, even like because most of us are using Android phones and we are signed into our Android phones using our Gmail accounts or the Google accounts. So what happens is basically when you use those these tools, uh, you will get a problem reminder on your phone saying that hey, you need to do this or you need to do that, and that way you don't forget things. So it's a very good tool for you to stay on top of all your activities or your plans that you want to achieve. So I'll just quickly open my browser screen. Okay, yes. Screen one.
Mr. Pradeep,
Yes, sir.
I was not able to see the screen. It was saying can't display. Now I am able.
Okay, okay. Alrighty. All right, now you can see my screen, right? Hello? Okay. So what we are going to do is basically I'm going to open calendar, and basically this is the calendar that you like all of us have access to. So we use calendar for like scheduling meetings, creating events or reminders or tasks for that matter. So and like there are a few things like all Google accounts. All Google accounts come with a free calendar for usage, and what that means is basically you can use this to manage your activities. For instance, like I have received these class invites for my daughter who is studying with MIS right now, and what this means is basically I have one single place to look at all the classes that she is supposed to join, and then basically I have all the details as well because somebody sent those details to me. um, Now here I think like some of the teachers are doing it themselves, some are not, and sometimes these details are not up to date, and that's why like parents have to go and ask on different WhatsApp channels or groups that have been created to see what's the meeting password for today and those kind of things. So in this session I'll just try to kind of like put some light on this and how you can just basically manage all this yourself as teachers, so that you don't have to rely on somebody else. And when you change something, how do you send an update to someone? Okay, so what happens is basically I will open my other account so that I can, because I have Zoom integrated with that one. Okay, so here as you can see this calendar is empty. Now I want to invite like I want to create an event, right? So all I need to do is, first of all, it has today selected here, right? I can change the view, and I can set the view as, instead of day, I can set it to be week, month. So I can, if I want to see the entire month, I can do it like this. If I want to see only today, which is the day, what I can do is basically I can just go ahead and basically select the day. Let me just make sure one more thing here. Okay, I will have to probably go ahead and add something on my OBS studio to add display capture. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. So now so I'll let it be today, and then I will just drag anywhere in the empty space, and you can see like it allows me to, so I want to create a 2-hour session with someone. I just select it. Now I can add a title. As you can see, like there are a few kind of things that you can see here. One is the event. So it's an event, which means that like there will be other people who will be joining this event. You can add guests as here. So first I'll need to define a title. So I'll just say that like my family get together. And it's a very realistic thing, because now, because of this lockdown, I am staying here in Dubai and my family is staying in India, and basically I cannot go and meet them like in person. So I probably create some sort of a event on our calendars, and then basically I'll add guests, and I'll add the email IDs of people who are supposed to join this one. So for instance, I can say contact, so this will automatically fetch, got it, fetch the details of the person that I'm doing, and it will also show you like if show us whether that person has some other meeting in that time slot or not. Now because my calendar is free for this particular day, it doesn't show me that like there is some event. One thing I would like to do is basically, just a moment, I would just probably delete this. Yes, discard. I selected the wrong date. Probably I would want to select today. Yeah, and then I will just go and create an event here so that I get a more realistic kind of a thing. Let me just admit someone who is just trying to join. Okay, cool. Now what I can do is let me just go back to the OBS studio. Okay, yeah. I will try to add a title to this, and then basically I'll say family get together, right? And I'll add a guest, which is going to be my wife. So it shows her calendar schedule as well, and because her schedule is empty between 2 to 4, and it also does the time zone conversion, because my time zone is different from her time zone, right? So it has to also figure out what will be the time zone for her. So okay, so now I have added 2 guests to it, right? I am the organizer and she is the guest on it, right? And then I can add a conference into it, because it will ask me what kind of conference. So I'll probably create a Zoom meeting for this one. So I'll just say create a Zoom meeting. So it will create a Zoom meeting for me. Because I have already logged in to Zoom using my account. So I'll just show you here. So I have a Zoom account and it is already logged in. So basically it will automatically create a meeting in Zoom as well for me. And all I need to do is now is basically I will just need to send this invite. I'll just click on save, and when I click on save, it will ask me, do I want to send the invite, email invite to the Google Calendar guest. So basically there is one guest on this event, so I can click on send, and it will send an email to them, and when they receive that email, this thing will be automatically applied on their calendar as well, so that they can basically get a reminder when this event is about to start. So this is a very good kind of tool wherein like it will help you in keeping all your meetings up to date, or like attendees up to date. Now one other thing that you can do is, like, now I've created this. Now if I want to change something about this event, right, I want to change the timing, for instance, like I don't want it to between 2 to 3:45, I want it between 2 and until 4. So all I need to do is I click on this one and I click on edit event. Now what it will do is basically it will bring up this all detail, and I can change the timing here. So I can say starts at 2:15, and then it automatically adjusts the end time. Now what this means is basically we can change the timing, and when I click on save, now it will ask me, do I want to send the update? So what it will do is basically it will automatically send an email with the updated event details, and as soon as the recipient receives that email, their calendar will be automatically updated. They don't have to do anything, they don't have to ask anything like what is the new timing and all that, because what will happen is this event will get fixed on their calendar on the updated time. And just to show you what I mean, I can even show you this with the, so I will try to basically open the other calendar, which is this one, where I sent this event. No, I want the time zone to be done. Basically I'll just set today. What was the time that I created this one? May 2nd, 3 to 4 p.m. right? Okay. So they receive this event like this, and then
Pradeep,
yeah,
that is for 2nd of May, which you created, and you are checking for 1st of May.
really?
In the other, yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, because okay, yeah, you're right. So this anyways, like when you go to this here now on the 2nd of May, probably yes. Yeah, that's thanks for pointing that out. I was okay. Let me just admit the people. Cool. Now this event is there, right? And as you can see, like I have changed the timing, and this timing is already like updated for them. Now if I go ahead and change the timing again, and if I make it like some other time, that timing again will be reflected on their schedule, like based on like whatever time that I've changed, and save, and I'll say send, and basically if I go back here, this one. Yeah, so earlier the timing was between like 3 to 4. Now it's 3:45 to 5:30. So this means that like you can change the details, and it doesn't have to like you don't have to send out an email, it does that automatically. One thing that I would like to mention here, like this is like a very basic thing. Now what you can do is basically you can do all other kind of things. For example, you can set a repetition on this event, which is very quite common use case for teachers specifically, because you have repeating classes on different days, right? So you don't want to create a different kind of meetings for different days. What you can do is you can set a repetition. Now the way repetition works is basically it will repeat the same event on a specific day at a given time. Now sometimes your situations might be that you have repeating events, but the events are like on different days, they have different times, right? For instance, like on Monday your class might be at 10 a.m, but on Tuesday it might be at 12 p.m. Now how do you do that? For that kind of situation, what you will do is basically you will create a repeating event for Monday, you will create another repeating event for Wednesday or Tuesday, and you will create another repeating event for other days of the week if your time changes. Now that way your timing will remain the same. There will be like one meeting ID generated for the repeating events, and basically it will be sent to the recipients so that like they don't have to ask for different meeting IDs they will get those meeting IDs on their calendar, and when they get the reminder to join the meeting, they will have all the details with the link and all that kind of stuff to join that meeting. So I can just say daily, so it repeats every day. I can even change weekly, right? Or I can make it custom, so repeat every week, and then I can say what days it repeats on. It repeats on Sunday, and then basically Tuesday, and then Thursday. And then you can set an end date to this repetition. Okay, when does this event stops happening? So you can say on this date, or after this many occurrences, which means that okay, after I have taken 15 classes, there will be no more events, kind of. So this is like when you want to basically set a custom kind of a recurrence. As I said, like this is you can customize it on like whatever parameters you want. For example, you can have what do you call it, one event per weekday, or you can have, if your timing doesn't change, that's the key thing to note here. If your time changes on given weekdays, then you would want to create different events for different days. But if your time doesn't change, if the time stays the same, but you have events on like alternating days, or like on fixed days, then what you can do is basically you can just set a recurrence here, and then you can say weekly, and then you can say custom, how you want to repeat, on what days you want to repeat, and all that kind of stuff. It's like fairly straightforward. For example, my event repeats on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, and when I say it's done, and then it saves, and it then sends an update to the recipients. Now because I set it to repeat on days, basically, as you can say, on May 4th it repeats itself, then it repeats itself on 6th May, and all these details are saved on to their calendar. Now we have spoken a little bit about repetition and the events, but there are like other use cases for calendar as well. The other use case that I can think of is basically you want to set yourself a reminder. For instance, you need to grade the mark sheets, or like the copies of the students, and basically because all of us are working from home right now, right? I'm also working from home, and what happens is basically sometimes it's very difficult for me to like mix my work and family together, because, or my personal stuff together, because well, I don't have to go to office, so I don't have to disconnect from my home into the office mode, and vice versa. When I come back, sometimes I keep on doing the office work when like even after my time has finished for official hours, because I don't feel that like I have disconnected from my current working environment. So reminders could be a very good way of like dealing with those kind of things. So you can set yourself reminders. Now what is a reminder is basically, a reminder will not have any kind of guess, because it's a reminder for yourself. You're not inviting anybody else. You can give it a title, and then you can set a due date for it, right? When you want yourself to be reminded. And then you can set repetition for it, for recurring kind of tasks. For example, you want to basically remind all your students about their assignments or those kind of things. You can do that. You can set a repetition to it, saying that okay, on every Friday remind me that okay, I need to talk to my students and tell them, hey, you need to submit your assignments during the weekend. So that's a very good way of to like keeping on track and basically making sure that you don't forget or miss out something which is important to you. The other thing is a task. A task is also similar to a reminder, but it also lets you save some additional details. For example, you can add a description to it, and then you can put it into different lists. For example, you can create tasks which are related to your school activities. So you can create different lists, right? So when you create a list, you can basically there is a tasks app here, like you can see here. You can create different lists there. So in the whatever list you create on the tasks, it becomes available here. And then basically you can have a list for your school tasks, you can have a list for your personal tasks, you can have a list for your kids tasks, if you are a mother or a father, or if you have to do certain activities for them, you can have a list for them. And then you can add description and details and all the things that happen here. Like what is the thing is basically with tasks you cannot have a recurrence date. A task are one time thing, so basically you do it on a one time, so you don't have recurrence, or like you cannot set repetition for them, they just happen once. Okay, so what we saw are like different kind of things that you can put into calendar. Now you might be asking, okay, that's good and nice. You see the Zoom icon here on your calendar, but I don't see that. How do I do that, right? How do I add Zoom to my calendar? And the answer is fairly straightforward. What you can do is basically, okay, got it. You can add on, and you can search from list, for example Zoom here, right? So you can click on this one and it will ask you to install. When you install this, continue, and what it will do is basically it will install that onto your calendar. Now one of the other things that you need to do is you need to also have a Zoom account, which obviously you will have because you are using it for your classes and all that stuff, right? So we have installed Zoom. Now because my wife doesn't have a signed up account for Zoom, which is because this is her calendar, she will not be I don't see the Zoom icon here, but because I have a Zoom account, I see this icon here. Other thing that you might have to do is basically, if you go to your schedule right here, and then you can set Google Calendar here, right, as well. Or if I go to a new incognito window, if I try to show you zoom.us, sign up, there's some right, so you can sign it up with Google, and when you do that, then basically it will be able to allow. Okay, so you will be able to use different accounts to sign in. Oops. And proceed with your Zoom. The way, if you sign it using this, it will have access to your Google Calendar and that kind of stuff, so that basically it can schedule meetings, and then basically this Zoom icon will be available to you here to as an add-on, and then when you create meetings, it will send these details to the participants who are supposed to join you. So that's all about the calendar. I think some of this might be like very simple and straightforward, and like a lot of people might be knowing, but other things are, for instance, like integration with Zoom and those kind of things. They can be a little bit tricky, and especially when you don't understand like how it is able to get my data, so and how it's able to like schedule a meeting for me and generate a meeting ID and those kind of things. They happen behind the scenes for you. You don't have to know them. But yeah, sometimes you don't know how to connect your Zoom account with your Google Calendar, and those kind of things can be a little bit tricky. So I thought it's better to like demonstrate them here in the meeting. Okay, I think let me just make sure that I have covered everything that I wanted to, and I have not forgotten anything. Appointment, task, reminders. Okay, perfect. So I spoke about meetings, I spoke about appointments, tasks, and reminders, how you can set them. Now I have tried to demonstrate how do you create a simple meeting, how do you set the recurrence, how you manage guests and invites, how you integrate it with Zoom, how we update meetings. Then I spoke briefly about tasks, reminders. I did not show appointments because I can show you appointments as well, but they are only available on like paid kind of Google accounts. For example, this is my what do you call it? This is a paid Google account. So in this one, I can set an appointment as well, right? Appointment slots. So these are like if I want people to be able to book an appointment with me, then I can set these appointment slots. And then basically I can also set an out of office, because I use this account for my personal kind of non-official activities. So I can set an out of office kind of message as well. So when people send me an email, they will get this out of office email response back saying that like, hey, I am out of office, I cannot attend your meeting, and those kind of things. Cool. So this is about Google Calendar. Before we proceed, are there any questions that anybody would like to ask? And then if not, then we'll proceed with the next tool, which is even more basically interesting: how to build exams. I was always scared when I was a kid of exams, but yeah. Just like if you want to ask questions, you can unmute yourself, ask the question if there is something that you didn't understand, or like if you need some sort of a what do you call it, clarification about something. Hello, is everybody able to hear me?
Yes, Pradeep.
Okay, cool.
Pradeep, one thing, can we integrate calendars with other online teachings and all, like Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom and all that?
Yes.
Like we did with Zoom, can we do it with others also?
Yes, in fact, with Google Classrooms, you can work like out of the box because it's a Google service. So your Google Calendar works out of the box with your Google Classes account if you have one. If you don't have one, then as I said, like for example, there is one thing that I probably did not demonstrate here, not on this one, but on this other calendar I would like to show. So if I have here, right, and I create, and if I add conferencing, I can use even Google Hangouts, right, which is another tool from Google to like basically send the meeting details. So basically the meeting will happen on Hangouts instead of happening on Zoom. So you can add as many tools. Now the condition here is basically there is something called as OpenID Connect. What that means is basically both these systems need to be able to support OpenID Connect. Now OpenID Connect helps systems talk between each other. So let me just admit someone. Okay. So the OpenID Connect helps different systems talk to each other. So if for instance like Zoom supports OpenID Connect and Google supports, so basically these systems are able to exchange information between themselves. So that like Google knows for whom we are scheduling a meeting on Zoom, and Zoom also knows like whose calendar is this. So that kind of information needs to be exchanged between different servers. So as long as you are working with a tool which supports this kind of thing, which is also known as single sign-on or like OpenIDC, OIDC, or open authentication, then it works. Like as you can see, like you have ton of add-ons here that you can add. You can add Cisco WebEx meeting, GoToMeeting, right, Uber Conference, different kind of systems that are like available. You can add them. If you have a BlueJeans account, you can do that, right? So depends like what kind of tools you are using and what kind of account you have. Most often than not, you will be able to integrate with like almost everything that's available on the planet between calendar and basically other services, as long as they are related in some way, right? So basically obviously if I wanted to integrate calendar with YouTube for that matter, like I'll not be able to do that because they don't belong together, right? So there is nothing for you to do on YouTube using calendar.
Same with Microsoft Teams. We cannot integrate Microsoft Teams with calendar.
We because what happens is, okay, I'll just demonstrate what with Microsoft Teams. What we have is basically we have got something called as what do you call it? Let me show you. So they have their own calendar for Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft Teams is generally, it comes with Office 365 premium subscription, some sort of a business or like enterprise kind of subscription. Now what you do is basically with them they have their own calendar. So basically, and it offers the similar kind of features and functionality that is available on like Google Calendar. So for instance, like it has the same kind of interface. I can just create meetings here as well if I wanted to, right? And if I go ahead and instead of month I just say day, I can add meetings like this the same way as I do it for Google Calendar. But for Microsoft Teams they have their own calendar. And
fine.
yeah.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so let's move on with the next tool that we wanted to talk about, which is going to be Google Forms. Google Forms. So generally, like we have been like in the corporate world, we have been using Google Forms for like a lot of different kind of activities, creating surveys, employee satisfaction surveys, interviews, general feedback, and those kind of things. What you as teachers or educators can do with forms is basically you can create exams, assessments, surveys, feedback, query resolution, or even basically resolve conflicts between students, because like forms can be anonymous, right? So basically what you can do is you can ask people to give you feedback anonymously without providing their details. Let's say there is a fight between two kids and you want to figure out whose fault was it, but the kids are not speaking up because they don't want like to have a bad kind of relationship with either of the two guys who had, or like two people who fought. Now you want to resolve the conflict and you want to get to the bottom of the issue. What you can do is basically you can send out an anonymous survey to people saying that, hey, you will not be found, like nobody will know about you, but you can try to describe it in the most truthful manner you can, so that nobody knows about like what you said, and then you also get to know the truth or the entire picture of it. This is like a very hypothetical kind of a situation, but what I'm trying to demonstrate is basically how you can use these tools in like a variety of scenarios which are not even related to education or like exams and those kind of things. So I'll just quickly go ahead and try to like show a form creation, right? So this is like Google Forms. It's free for online surveys, personal surveys, if you want to do something like that. So you can go to Google Forms, right? And when you go there, you can create different kind of forms, right? So you can create contact information if you want to get contact information, event registration, t-shirt sign up, anything like that. What I'll be doing is basically I'll be creating a blank form. Start with the blank. I need to give it a name, right? So my form will have a name which is going to be, let's say English test, and I don't know, like I'll just put some hypothetical questions here. I just want to demonstrate the feature. So I create an English test and I describe, so unit test 1 for English. I just want to demonstrate the feature, right? And then I can add questions to it. So this first test question, so I can say this is my first test question. What kind of question is it? Like, is it a multiple choice question? You can select it from here. So I can say it's a multiple type choice question, and in multiple type as well there are, so some multiple type questions are like the answers to them are mutually exclusive, which means that either you can only select one of the options, right? You cannot select all of them. So you can define, if you say multiple choice and you say check boxes, what check boxes does is basically it adds multiple options to it, but multiple answers are correct, or the correct answer is a combination of multiple options. So for instance, I can say correct option 1, can add another one, correct option 2, and then wrong option, and then one more, this is also correct, right? So now I have a question in which like the entire answer is a combination of this one, and this one. So if I have to answer this correctly, I have to select all three of them and not this one, right? So this is one way. The other way is basically I can just say multiple choices, which means that only one of these answers is correct. And basically I cannot select multiple of them. I can just select one of them. So when I say multiple choice, I just select one, like only one of these answers is correct. When I say check boxes, there are more than one options for the correct answer. So, and the correct answer is a combination of all those options. So this is a way of creating multiple choice questions. So this is done. By the way, like if you want to demonstrate some sort of illustration, you can also upload an image with this one, right? So I can just say, maybe I can just say insert. So there is an image as well that gets uploaded with the question. So basically, if you want to ask something regarding an image or an illustration, you can upload that with the question, saying that find out how many triangles are in this picture. For example, if it was a math test, or basically what shape is it for very small classes. If for bigger classes, it could be basically the figures related to trigonometry and those kind of things, maybe. So this is how you create a question. Now I'll add another question, and basically, by the way, before I proceed any further, there is another thing which is basically required. Now for most of the exams that you will be creating, you don't need to mark this as required, because let's say the student doesn't know the answer to this question, so they will not be able to answer. So rather than having them select a wrong answer, you can just allow them to skip this answer at all, like this question altogether, so that they are not required to have this. I can remove this image. Okay, let me just remove so that I have more screen space, and then basically add another question. I can add another question. Now this could be a subjective type question where like the people are supposed to explain rather than just selecting one option. So describe the answer. For instance, the question is like this, right? And it automatically selects a paragraph because it's able to do some machine learning and those kind of things. Now, when you want to have a subjective type answer, you can select a short answer or a long answer. So short answer comes with a restriction on how many words can be used in answering the question. Or if you want to use a more detailed kind of answer, you can set paragraph, and then basically it will be a long answer and people have to write a lot of stuff. Cool. So this is the different kind of questions, or like a different kind of question that you can create. And the same applies here. You can mark it as required. All the things that you can do with multiple choice, you can do with this one. You can also upload an image. Let's say if you want to write the kids to basically test the kids for story writing or comprehension and those kind of things, probably you can just upload an image, say that like okay, looking at this picture, write a story or something like. Let me just do this. And then you can add videos to your questions. Basically any kind of content can be uploaded with the forms. Then I can add another question, which is going to be a drop down. So if I say okay, select correct answer, and it's going to be a drop down. Now what drop down does is basically it's I'll show you this form like once we have completed it. So I'll just say okay, this is one option, this is another option. It's similar to multiple choice. The only difference is basically instead of like selecting one, they have to select from the list. And basically the third one is I'll show you how it works. So this is third option. Okay, now once we have done, I can just click on the send, and I can copy the link to this one, right? So I'll just shorten the URL, copy, and then I'll open it in another tab just to see how it looks. So this is my simple example or this English test that I created. So first test question, and they are supposed to select an answer to this. So let's say this one, and this one. These are the correct answers. Describe our answer. I can write a story here. This is a long story, and then I can also select an option, right? So as I said, like this is similar to this one, but or the basically other one, multiple choice one. But here instead of like clicking on that one, probably I should demonstrate it here. Sorry, my bad. I should have added one more question, which is going to be add one more question, and it's going to be multiple choice. Multiple choice, and I'll just say instead of short answer, it'll be multiple choice. test. Okay, and then now I can send and copy the link, shorten URL, copy and paste it here. So now I have one more question. So these two are similar. The only difference is basically I see all the options here. Here I have to select from this drop down kind of thing. I don't know why they created these two different kind of, because they are essentially the same, probably just to confuse people. Okay, so this is how you create basic forms, right? So you can create these basic forms, and what you can do is basically you can combine this with other tools. For example, I copied the URL of this form, right? So I can go to this one, right? Sorry, not this one, send one. I click on the send button and I can either send this as an email to someone, but that's not a very good way in my opinion. And the reason why I don't want to send an email is because I want to probably have this sent as a calendar invite, so that like I also fix a time and date for my event, right? So for this test, what I can do is basically I can go to this and I can copy the link. I can copy this link and I can add shorten URL here, which will make this a very small URL. I can click on this copy button, it will copy this one, and then I'll go to my calendar and I'll create an event on my calendar saying this is an event, English unit test 1. I can add my students to whom I want to send this test for grading, and then I can add a description here, which is the link to the test, right? The form. So just provide a description here saying that to take the test, please go to this link. Now when they'll receive this link, the reminder will contain this link, and then when they click on this reminder, they will be taken to the form, and then they'll be able to answer these questions. And then basically you can add guests to it, which is kind of people you want to invite. So for example, I want to invite someone, and then if you want to supervise the test, which means that like you want also add a Zoom conference details, so that like you will be with the students if they want to ask some clarifications, some clarification questions regarding the questions that you have put in the test. You can add conferencing to it. So the same way we did for normal meetings, right? So you can add conferencing or Zoom meeting details. And once you do that, now your test is ready. You just click on save, and as soon as you do, it will send out an invites to your students saying, hey, you need to attend this test on this particular day using this Zoom link, and this is the link for your test. You click on this one, click on send, and off you go. So your test is now sent to your students, and what you can do is basically here it's going to be there. So you have English unit test, and as I said, like all the details that you okay, probably I did not, let me just update this guy a little bit nicely, edit, and go to the description here and add this one, and then save, and it will save the, I'll just send the updated thing detail here, and I click on this refresh now, right? So they have link, they just click on this link and they'll be taken they'll be taken to this form, and then they'll just be able to answer these questions. Now this is a very basic and like simple example. You can do very powerful kind of things with your forms now. So I'll go there, right? And if I come here, there are remember we saw some add-ons for the Google Calendar. There are add-ons for forms as well, and what those add-ons allow you to do is basically they allow you to add more functionality to your test. For instance, if your test is purely objective type questions, which means that it can be automatically graded, provided you can provide it with the answer key, right? So you can provide an answer key to it. Then what you can do is basically you can make this as a quiz. What this means is basically you can they can see, this test can be automatically evaluated. You can release the result or the grade immediately or after doing a manual review later on. And basically you can select what your students can see, what are the questions that they missed and what are the correct answers that they. So now this quiz feature is very useful if you have a multiple objective type questions. For they can be automatically graded, right? So basically you can specify, okay, for question A this is the correct answer. For subjective type or like long paragraph answers, it becomes more of a human job to look at the answer and read, and then basically provide like grades to that answer. So I can just save this one, and now this has become a multiple question. So here, as you can see, like now you can provide an answer key to this one. So basically you can just say how many points are there for this question, and like which one is the correct answer, right? So this, let's say this is the correct answer, and there are like 10 points or 10 marks for this one. So you can set them here and then done. So whenever students will answer these questions, they will be able to, like this can be automatically graded, rather than you requiring to like check the answers and then sending a report. It will be automatically graded. The other way is basically I'll just go to English test and then basically done, and I'll come back to my forms. I'll demonstrate one more thing, which is like with the help of an add-on, and for like multiple type questions, how you can make it. So this is like auto graded test. This test will auto grade and send certificate. So basically here we are creating an auto graded test, which will be basically automatically graded and sent to the students. By the way, like I'll also demonstrate like another tool or add-on, which you can put a time limit on, like how much time there is, and basically you can also have a time frame, like okay, people can only take this question, this test between this time and this time, and like not before that or after that, so that like it gives a more exam kind of a feel, right? For example, if my exam is on Monday, I cannot just show up on Tuesday or on Saturday saying that like I need to take the exam. I need to show up on Monday at a specific time at a specific place, right? So those kind of things can be controlled with add-ons that you can add. So here is question, and it's a multiple choice, so correct and incorrect, let's say. And I'm gonna change this, I'm gonna change the settings of this one and make it a quiz. Save. Now this is the answer to this one is this one, and there are like 5 points or 5 marks with this one, so that's done. I can add another question, and I'd say second, and it will also be a multiple choice, incorrect, and then this one is a correct answer. Answer key is correct one, and there are 2 points to this one. Done. So I've created a very basic test. This is an auto graded test, right? And this will also send out a certificate when the students have finished taking the test. So I can add an add-on, and I can say certify them. So this is like a add-on which you can enable by clicking on the so you can see certify em, like it's a add-on, and it says basically different like what are the passing percentage for your test and which template to use. I'll not go into very much details. I'll leave it for you guys to explore, but I'll just try to show you like what it does and how it can make your life very easy. So now we have the certify em associated with it. I can just click on the send. Okay, so first of all, I need to turn on the certification. What it means is basically I need to send the certificate, the completion certificate to the students. So I'll just turn on the certification. What that will do is basically they'll require an email address. So people are supposed to enter an email address because they'll receive the certificate back, right? That you have completed this and all. So I'll just click and then I'll click on send and I'll just copy the link, shorten URL, copy, paste it here. Right? And then I'll just say my email address is right. So this is my email address. I'll select correct answer, and then they can send, like, choose to get a copy of the responses. Otherwise, yeah, just submit. So, and they can click on view score. So correct, and so they can see like how they did on the test. Now the most important thing is, even more important than this one, is they get an email like this is an auto grade, the details and all that stuff, and hopefully shortly I should also, okay, probably I did not, did I? It should have sent me, probably take some time. No, it did not. Okay, let's figure out why it did not send me the yes, so the score is correct. Did generate certificate record advanced. Let's see what is missing. Okay, email options, name of sender, yes, thanks, save changes. Okay. Alright. Anyways, believe me, it works. Like it takes sometimes it takes a little bit of time to send the certificate, but it does send out a certificate saying like you completed this exam and this is the score that you achieved, and basically just a very simple kind of thing. Now let's say by default when you come here, this thing is not available to you, add-ons. For instance, like if I was using a different account for creating my forms, if I am using this one, that yeah. So if I create a form here, because I'm using a different account, they don't have anything here, right? So they cannot add any. So how do you enable these add-ons on your forms? Go here, you click on this add-ons, and it will take you to a screen where you can add different kind of add-ons, right? So for instance, the one that I'm using is called CertifyM, this one, right? And it generates a certificate. You can also have something related to time, right? For instance, this one is basically timer for your Google Forms. So you can set a timer, like how much time the student have to answer these questions, or like how much in how much time they need to finish the test. So you can add this one to your forms, and what will do is basically you will install, continue, then you need to give it the permission, obviously. I'll just demonstrate it on this one rather than on that one. So I'll just go to create another blank one, and I will add add-ons. I'll just say as I was saying, like it also generates a certificate. Here's your certificate. So this is has completed so and so test with passing score. This is like a simple kind of a thing where like you can send auto grade certificates. Also, it's not very practical. I would probably want to have a custom, like you would want to send control the release of the grades and those kind of things manually. So probably you can do it later on. But this is like enough automation for you to be able to like see the responses and those kind of things for your test. So for instance, I can, for this one, like I can see like how many responses are there, and basically what is the point score, and who has taken the exam and who has not taken the exam. So it gives me that kind of control already. Okay, so now I have I have created another one. Which one is this one? So I can add a timer to this test now if I wanted to. So I can just go ahead and add-ons, and I'll say PIM. So I'll just install this add-on onto my form. Okay. Now if I go back and select on this one, so I can say timify me, and I can configure what's the total time. Okay, this is a paid service. Sorry. I'll remove this one, and I'll like there are a lot of other free add-ons as well. You don't have to go for a paid one. So you can use a free one for using this one. So I think time. Just a moment. Let me just do a Google forms and form limiter. Okay. Not this one. Choose unit Google form limited. Add-ons. Choice limited, form approval, form builder, certifying form directive, form values, choice eliminator. I'm trying to find, yeah, control accepting. So you can stop the form when you want to. Form scheduler, this is another one. So you can explore, like you can schedule the form responses based on the Google Calendar events. You can stop accepting responses or for like different kind of tests. For example, after 10:30, nobody should be allowed to submit the form and those kind of things. There are a lot of tools to explore. I'm sorry for not like being able to demonstrate a lot of that, because I want to cover one more important tool, which is before like spending a lot of time on this one, which is the Khan Academy, which is another like source of content which can be used extensively for like for your daily teaching activities. Yep. Okay. So this is about the forms. So it gives you like an option to like put time limits and basically create easy assessments for your students, and then basically you can just combine this with your calendar to send out like schedules for tests, and then basically how students can like go ahead and submit those tests, and basically you can be present as like a supervisor during the test on Zoom, so that like the students can then answer the questions, or like you can answer the questions that the students might have during the test. Okay, so before we proceed any further with like the Khan Academy, I would like to say like there are a lot of add-ons and kind of things which probably I'll not be able to cover in this session today, but I would encourage you to go ahead and basically check out a few add-ons, and if you have any questions, I'll share my email ID with like all of you, and you can just like drop me an email or text me on WhatsApp, and then basically I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have, or I'll be even happy to have like a one-on-one call with you to like help you with any issues that you might be facing. Okay, so now before I proceed, if you have any quick question that you would like to ask, maybe you can ask me. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and look at one more tool, which is.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
So when the students will submit the questions, then when we have to check those answers, like it is a multiple choice, so we again have to sign into our Google Forms, and then we can check the answers.
Yeah, basically what happens is yes, that's a very good question. What you can do is basically when you come to your, okay, I'll close this one. So, and if I go to my forms here, when I click on this icon here, right, so I can see all the things that I have, all the forms that I have created, right? So this is like, for example, my English test that I created, and I can click on responses, and it will show me what are the responses, right? So there is nobody has responded here, so you'll see all the list of like of different students' answers that they have submitted.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions? Cool. All right, so now what we'll do is basically we'll talk about another like very interesting tool. I personally have been using Khan Academy for a long time because it gives me like I did my schooling a long time ago, and there are a lot of things which I have forgotten. I don't remember because I don't use them on a daily basis in my job, right? So there are like a few concepts in mathematics that I would like to revise, or a few concepts in geography, for example, that I don't like. I would like to know more about, but how like I don't have access to those textbooks, and I don't want to read those textbooks anyways, because like probably it was I was so scared of these textbooks when I was a kid that I don't want to read them anymore. So what else I can do? I can go to something like Khan Academy, which is a very like powerful tool. I found it to be quite powerful, and basically it's a tool for everybody. Like it's a tool for students. So there are like different modes when like how you can join Khan Academy. You can join as a teacher, you can join as a student, you can join as a parent. Now what that means is basically depending on your role. For example, if you're a teacher, you can do different kind of things. Depending if I'm a parent, I can do different kind of things, and if I'm a student, I can do different kind of things. But the content remains the same. What I mean by content is, I mean the class material, the videos, the assignments, the reading material, and those kind of things, they remain the same. So I will quickly demonstrate Khan Academy. For example, I'm showing the teachers here. So it's like the teachers, right? So teacher dashboard. I'll go to my teacher dashboard. So for example, this is a test class that I've created. It's called computer programming. right? And I have got few students enrolled. Like this is a test student. I just created this one for the demonstration purpose only. I just see, I can see my student rosters here, right? I can see, okay, these are my students. This is one guy, right? What are the activities that they have done in like, have they created any, like, have they completed any course mastery? Did they create any activities? What are they doing? What is the status of their assignments, right? So I can assign, I'll show you how to create assignments and those kind of things, but I'm trying to demonstrate the features for teachers, what features you have available. Now here's another thing, like I am a teacher and I have a full-time job to do. I don't have time to create all this like fancy content with videos recorded for my students to like say, hey, okay, I will explain what is programming. I'll show you. I'll create a very good website for you to, because that's too much of like effort, and all these things, this content is not created by one person. So it has been created over a period of time. What I can do is basically I can benefit from this content. Sometimes like I cannot explain everything in the class. The subject matter is too detailed, and most importantly, like some of the students have different learning needs. For instance, like I was very bad at mathematics when I was in college. Although like despite not the college, but when I was in school, and the reason for that was because most of the times mathematics was taught to me in a fashion where like nobody told me where this will be used in your real life. They will just tell me, okay, here is like a formula and this is how you solve it. I'm not very good at like grabbing abstract concepts. I can grab abstract concepts, but I have to have some sort of a understanding first, right? So I was very bad at mathematics. Yeah, so I was very bad at mathematics because I wasn't like I wasn't explained, and I'm not saying like it's my teacher's fault. What I'm trying to convey is basically different people have different learning needs. Despite that fact, like I learned mathematics, most of my mathematics and most of the engineering that stuff that I do, I use mathematics very heavily, but I learned it myself because I knew that like, okay, I have to find a way for my particular limitation. So I learned it myself, trying to figure out where is calculus basically relevant in real life, and when I have those examples, then I can learn it, and basically I can be good at it. So for those kind of like scenarios, this is a very good, like you want to cover your syllabus, but you also want to provide an in-depth kind of perspective into a subject matter to different students, and this is where this supplemental kind of resources like Khan Academy could be your friend, because you can go ahead and like use the content that they have built over like so many years. And because this is a non-profit foundation, you as a teacher don't have to pay to anybody. It's a non-profit content which is available, and you can you can create courses here, and then you can send those links to your students to join those courses, and then you can collaborate with them when they are learning. You can answer their questions, you can see their progress, you can track their assignments, how good they are, like how well they are doing with their assignments and those kind of things. Okay, enough. Now I'll just go to my dashboard, right? So I have class, and I can add a new class. So I can say this is my class, right? So my another class, and you can import the content from your Google Classroom. If you have a Google Classroom account, you can import the class from there. I don't have, so I'll just create one. I'll create next, and then I can say, okay, what are the courses that I'll be teaching in this particular class, right? So and by the way, like it has content for every class, like from kindergarten up until like high school. It has content, and it has content and like very very good content for like a lot of subjects, not just like computer science or mathematics. It has content for everything: biology, chemistry, economics, right? So what I'll do is basically I'll just create a class for arithmetic, right? I want to teach arithmetic, and then basically I'll say how my students will join the class, right? So I will send a link to my students. So this is my link. I'll copy it, and I can email this to my students. I can copy this and I can send an email with this link saying that, hey, I've created this class on Khan Academy, you can join this class, and when you join, we will be able to collaborate together, like in learning, and if, like, you can learn more in-depth knowledge of the subject matter, more than what I teach in terms of like the syllabus and that kind of stuff, and I'll be happy to guide you. This is a very what do you call it, important thing which I feel missing in like in our education system. Although I think like the Indian education system is the best in like comparing with a lot of other countries, and that's one of the reasons like my daughter is studying in India and not here, because it's more about the fact that like any place we go, like the top IT companies today have their CEOs who are Indians, who did their schooling and their education from India. So that tells you like how powerful of education system we have. But the only thing that I found to be a little bit missing is like sometimes we focus too much on like on the curriculum, that we miss out on the in-depth part of the curriculum. Like, okay, let's say if a student is good at mathematics, we need to give them an opportunity to explore that subject rather than like focusing on everything else as well. These are my personal opinions. I'm not trying to tell you how to teach. I'm just trying to share what I think, and based on like my experience as a student, where I found like could be a little bit better. Okay, so you can create this link, copy it, and you can email it to your students from like your email account, and then basically new course, join. So you create a link and then just send it to your student, and what will happen is basically they will receive a link. Which email did I send it to? Sorry, there are so many emails open. Okay, sorry, I sent it to myself in the same email. Yes. So here is the link, and I click on this link and it takes me to join this, and then it says you want to join this class. Yes, join class. And then basically you can see all my courses here. There are a lot of courses that I've joined, and I also use Khan Academy like for my daughter, because she needs to be able to, like, for example, I can go to my parent dashboard, because this is my personal account, so I can see like this is my daughter, she is also doing some stuff, and basically so different people can use it differently. Cool. So this is about Khan Academy, like how you can create your classes, and then basically manage the schedules of your, like who are your students, how many students have enrolled. You can track their progress. You can check the placement, right? So how many units how you want to proceed, when do you want to what's the scoring and those kind of things. There are a lot of things to explore in this one. And then you can create goals. How do you want, like how you want your students to learn in terms of like due dates, and what would they achieve, or when they complete a goal, and those kind of things. And finally you can set assignments, right? So these are different kind of assignments, and you can say which of these are like, so you can, like, for example, I select all the assignments and I say assign to all students, this is the due date, and I assign it. So this will now be visible to the students in their dashboard, saying that, hey, you need to complete these assignments by this date, right? And then basically you can look at their scores if they have completed some assignments. For example, I did not take any assignments, so my scores are 0. And then you can manage assignments. You can just manage, remove, delete, or like change the dates and those kind of things. So this is like for a teacher. Now to explore a little bit about like what other kind of things are available. Like for instance, like you as a teacher, your students will come and ask, or you, it's like if you can, for example, your student asks, I need to prepare for SAT. What is a good platform, where can I find content? I need to prepare for IIT JEE. Where can I go? And you can guide them and tell them, hey, you can find the content for IIT JEE preparation here on Khan Academy. And when you can even create a course for this one. You can create a course. Probably let me just demonstrate this one. I'll come here and I'll click and create a new class, and I'll just say IIT JEE preparation. Right, so you can say here and then basically create next, and then it will ask you which course you want to select, right? So here I have IIT JEE. I want to do this with my students, right? It's not part of this syllabus, but I want to do it outside of the syllabus, right? So how do I do it? I can create a course on Khan Academy, and I can go next, and I'll just ask my students to join by the link and all that kind of stuff. So I'll just say copy, and then so this is my IIT JEE class, and I can add new students here, and then copy, and then done. I can send it to my students, and all the different kind of like assignments that I can assign for this particular course, right? So there are different kind of assignments and lessons for this one. What are the different topics that are taught for IIT JEE preparation? You can select them, assign them, set a schedule for them, score, and basically collaborate with your students as to like how they can pursue this course, so that like you can add some value to them. Another kind of very useful content that I found on Khan Academy was like these other things, which is like college admissions, careers, what careers they can pursue. This is very important, especially for like for a little bit of senior students, because at some point in time, like around grade 8th or above, they start feeling confused because they are growing up, they understand a lot of things, but they are really confused what they should become, because some of the things are not so rewarding in terms of like monetary benefits, but they like doing those kind of things, but the parents, especially like every parent, just tells them to like follow a career which is either becoming a doctor, engineer, or something of that kind, right? Nobody wants their kids to be a painter or something like that. Although now the situation is a little bit changing. It was quite different when I was a student, or especially like when you guys were also students. So this can give them a very neutral kind of a perspective into careers, what careers they can take, what are the options that they have available. Another thing which I found to be quite interesting was the personal finance. Like when I was growing up, we had a tradition in family that like we never used like none of we were three brothers, we never received any pocket money or that kind of, that was like against the rules in my family. So everything was done by my mother. She used to manage everything, and she used to like manage all the finances and all that kind of stuff. Now as a result of it, because I never got to manage any finances or anything like that, I never had a very good understanding of how to manage money or how to handle money. And as a result of it, today as well, like I either overspend or I underspend. I am never able to maintain a perfect balance, and that's the reason I don't spend. I just keep that to my wife, who is more wiser in those kind of things. So these kind of like these extra things, for example, the personal finance, it gives them a very good understanding of like how they can save and budget, how they can like understand interest and debt, what are the investment and retirement options, how to handle the housing, and different like a lot of other things which they will definitely need to handle at some point in time, especially the senior students who are like about to pass out the school, go to college. They will have to probably like, it's not so much of a tradition in our country, in India, where like parents pay for the higher education of their kids, but in like most of the Western societies, the kids have to bear the cost of like higher education. The college education has to be mostly like borne by the student themselves, and the way they do it is by like getting loans from different banks, and then basically like paying that loan back when they got a job. So those kind of things we have to teach our kids or like our students, and tell them how they can learn about these extra aspects of life, not just about the schooling. And I think like you as teachers, I believe can play a very important role in those kind of things. Uh, so that's all that I wanted to talk about today. As I said, like this session is being streamed live on YouTube, so I'll share the link of this. If like for those who joined late, can also go and watch the repeat on YouTube because it's being streamed live there. And basically, if you have any questions, I'll share my emails, my WhatsApp contact details, and my phone numbers with you, so that you can reach out to me if you want like any help in terms of like setting up these tools or like getting started with any of these tools that I explained in the session today. Okay, so before we end this session, are there any questions that you like that can be answered quickly? Because I don't want to waste your time. I have already taken 1.5 hours of your precious time, so I don't want to take any more.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, please tell me.
Sir, how to create long questions over there in Google Form?
So basically what happens is if you go to the Google Forms, right, and here is like one of the probably questions. Here I go, right, I can add a question, right, and the question is going to be a paragraph, right, so it's going to be a long answer that you want to get from
Yes,
students,
yes.
right, so you can
Yes.
select a paragraph, and then what they can answer it in long paragraph format. So I can say, okay, write long answer, and then I send the link. I'll just copy the link so that I can open it somewhere else. Copy, and I'll just paste it here. So when I open this form here, they can answer a very long answer. This one, whatever they want to run. This is a very long answer, right? So you can
Okay,
create
okay.
also, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions? Okay, all right. Then I'll basically leave this session closed now. I think I believe that it was a helpful session for you guys. And as always, like you can reach out to me. I'll share my contact details with you. And all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.